What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to break down some very important words from the man, the myth, the legend, Elon Musk. He did say things about the Chinese EV companies. He did say things that will affect NIO that are super important for the future. Now, before I break anything down about Elon Musk and what he said about the Chinese EV sector, what he said about NIO, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NEO community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $3,000. And the best part is any could be worth, or I'm sorry, any could be a free Tesla or NIO share. So with that out of the way, guys, let's get on with the video. NIO was actually green on Friday, but there are some important things that Elon Musk said about the Chinese sector and then other things that will affect NIO. The first thing is good. The second thing is not as great. All right. The good thing that he said is that he said that China is going to hold Tesla's biggest rival. It's going to be in China. He said that the Chinese EV companies, they work the hardest, they work the smartest, and they are very, very, very commendable. He said Tesla has nothing but respect for them, and what they're doing is absolutely incredible. Now, he didn't speak specifically about which one or like one of them in particular, but he did mention that they are doing very, very well, and China is going to be the second place in the EV sector. He also mentioned the fact that in China, he sees just so much growth potential, and he believes that they're going to be keeping up with Tesla. And it's going to push both of the companies to not just increase competition, but increase the capabilities of one another as time goes on. Additionally, he mentioned the fact that a lot of their companies are showing immense growth, and that's part of why they're very, very strong. Now, on top of that, he mentioned something else that's very important, and that's the fact that there are uh, alternative things going on in the world that are not always in their control, and that's the reason why it has affected their earnings, at least on different like occasions. He also mentioned the fact that right now in the markets, there's something going on that could actually affect the entire sector, and that is what's going on with the Fed. Now, Elon Musk mentioned one thing about the markets. He said that the markets are likely not going to be the strongest, at least forever. He mentioned that, yeah, for Tesla and maybe many other, Chinese out there and etc., it's very important to remember that Tesla will not always be predictable for the short term, but for the long term, he's very bullish on them. He also mentioned that he's very bullish on the EV sector in general. But why on earth is Tesla not as predictable? Why on earth may Tesla not be as strong for the shorter term in Elon Musk's opinion? Well, the answer to that is when Musk talks about the short term, he's referring to not just like a week, he's talking about many months. And he's telling us that the market could still have lots of pain. The market may not be perfect, even though for the long term we are going to recover very strong. We could relate all of this to NIO. NIO is going to be, in my opinion, as long as they continue their growth, as long as they improve fundamentally, and they have strong fundamentals, as long as they keep going and they don't give up, this company, as long as it keeps growing, it's going to be very bullish. Very, very bullish. It's going to break all time highs, in my honest opinion. Right? It may take many months, it may take many years, but it's okay because we know that the growth is coming. And if we're buying the dips, we have a lot of upside to come. But for the shorter term, for the next few months, Elon Musk said that he's worried about the Fed crushing the value of the entire stock market. And the point he's trying to make is there's a risk involved. He has taken the same stance as Cathie Wood, and that is the fact that the Fed may have over tightened, and the rate at which they're tightening could actually lead to some concerns for many investors. You mentioned the fact that the Fed funds rate hike the Fed has to be very careful and not exceed 6%. He also mentioned the fact that this will really slow down demand and it could lead to a recession. Elon Musk predicted, okay, his prediction was we could enter a recession in 2023. He believes we will. And he thinks that it's very possible and very probable the recession is going to be comparable to that of 2009. He believes that the rate hikes, the real effects of them, are going to take time to actually hit, and it's going to take many months for us to see the true recession. So the point he's trying to make is look, Elon Musk told us, and I'm going to refer all of this to NIO in a second, but he told us Tesla has strong fundamentals. Tesla's an amazing company. And yet, despite getting stronger as a company for the year 2022, the company has gotten a weaker share price. They actually came down very hard over the last couple of months, especially during the month of like December, going into the first 2 weeks of January. It was very tough for them. And that's because, well, obviously he was selling, that was a part of it. The economy played a role, the EV sector, but it was also because of the Fed raising the federal funds rate. And when the whole market comes down, we tend to see even Tesla get dragged down. What does this have to do with NIO? Well, it's the same thing for NIO. NIO could be a really strong company. They could have very strong fundamentals. They could just do amazing things over and over again, and yet the share price could still come down because of the Fed. And if Jerome Powell, and this is where this relates to next week, if Jerome Powell comes out and he's very hawkish, he could still cause the stock market to get rug pulled, and that could still drag down Tesla, it could drag down Apple, it could drag down Microsoft, SPY, the NASDAQ, NVIDIA, all these different stocks, they could still get dragged down. So could NIO. That's my warning for everyone. As we have the FOMC meeting, we're going to have Jerome Powell speaking next week. It's going to be very important, especially when the market is pumping right before. It's not always the best of signs, right? I'm not trying to insinuate anything. I'm not trying to guarantee anything. But I will tell you, we have to be very cautious. FOMC is going to be on February 1st. Be ready for it. And on top of that, the Fed is technically incentivized to be hawkish because you have to remember, GDP was still showing expansive growth quarter over quarter. It was actually even more strong than what the market wanted. You have to remember that. The jobs market was also stronger than what expectations were. The Fed is incentivized to be more hawkish. Does this mean they're going to give us 50 basis points? No, it doesn't mean that. They could still give us 25, but Powell could say things that are quite hawkish. You have to be prepared for that. What he says could affect the entire market. So with that said, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. I just want to note and conclude by saying that look, the market may be pumping, but once FOMC comes, things could really make a big U-turn. This is what tends to happen historically. The second thing I want to note is that for a company like NIO, we're on a nice uptrend. If NIO keeps going, right, we have lots of resistance in this 13.18 to 13.42 zone. This was the resistance zone from the past. This could slow NIO down, and if the market reverses, it's not going to be because of NIO. If NIO ends up dropping in share price, it's not because NIO is a bad company. What could be happening is NIO is a strong company, but the whole market comes down just as Elon Musk said. And if the whole market gets dragged down by the Fed, NIO could get dragged down to start filling the gaps below. So I want to prepare everyone that Elon Musk is warning us about this. But Elon Musk also said that fundamentally a lot of Chinese companies are very strong. They're the smartest in his words and the most competitive companies out there. So he still is, he's still implying that there's lots of growth to come for companies such as NIO, but there could be pain because of the Fed, right? You have to be prepared for that. I want to make that as clear as possible. Okay, so with that said, thank you all so much for listening. Elon Musk gave us his 2 cents. It's not the end of the world. This is necessary. Recessions are necessary during too many long periods of quantitative easing. Thank you. Have a great day, guys. NIO to the moon because the long term future is still incredibly bright. And peace out.